So we continue with market failure, but today we need to talk about information failure. Information, these are things, details you get. For economic agents, maybe businesses, that's firms, producers, we're talking about producers, we're talking about consumers, we're talking about even workers. We all need information. But what are the information we need? We need information about what we want to do. As a worker, you need information about the kind of job available for you, the qualification needed for that job. You need to know the reward for that job. You need to know if the skills you have is suitable for that job. That's a worker. As consumers, you need to know the price of the product. You need to know the contents of the product. You need to compare the product with those of your competitors, like of other businesses. So you need information, you need details about whatever you want to do. As producers, you need information to know the kind of product you need to produce, to know the kind of raw materials that is cheaper, that will be able to help you to make profits. All these things are details that are important. So if these things are missing, then there's information failure. Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yes.
So let's go. Information failure. For consumers to buy the product that will give them the highest possible satisfaction at lowest possible prices, they have to be fully informed about the nature of the products on offer, the benefits they can receive from them, and their prices. So for consumers, they need information about the price of the products. They need information about the nature of the product. They need information about the benefits of the product. So when you are advertising the product, customers need to be informed. You need to inform customers about the price of the products, the quality derived from the product, the satisfaction that could be derived from the product, the nature of the product, that is the content, the source of the product. If these things are missing from the consumer's perspective, it is an information failure. We call it asymmetric information, which means consumers do not have deep knowledge, full knowledge about what they are buying. That is information gap, which is information failure. I think that is clear, right?
Yes.
Workers need to know what jobs are on offer. That's the kind of job that is available. The location of the workplace. Where is it situated? Is it far from us? Is it far from me? Is it far away from here? Is it closer to me? We need to know as a worker. The qualification required. What are the qualifications? What are the certificates needed for this job? You need to know before you apply for the job. Then, what is the wages? What is the reward for this job? So look at consumers. We said consumers need to know about the price of the product, the nature of the product, and the benefits that can be derived from the product. That is consumers' perspective. So if these things are missing, it is information failure on consumers' side. That means consumers are lacking information. There's information gap between consumers and the producer of those goods. That's information failure. For workers and their employers have to come out to let workers or employees or potential employees to know the reward for the job, the qualification required for the job, the skills needed for that job, the distance, the location of that job. Because with the location, potential employees will be able to know if it is far away from them or closer to them. So if these things are missing, then there's information gap, meaning there's information failure. For producers, similarly, producers need to know what products are in demand, where good quality raw materials can be purchased at lowest possible prices, and what are the most cost-effective methods of production. So for producers, they want to know through research they want to know about the demand of customers, because they have to provide or produce the demand for customers. If businesses or firms fail to produce what customer needs or wants, then there's market failure. So market failure sometimes comes as a result of information gap. Do you get what I'm saying there? There's market failure because there's information failure. So if firms, with the information they have, they are able to produce, with the information they are able to gather, it means, they know what the demand of customers are, and they have to produce it. Not only the demand, even the quantity needed by customers. So if consumers are able to, if producers are able to do this, there won't be market failure. But market failure comes as a result of producers, firms, not understanding the nature, the details about the market, about customers. So that's why they say producers need to know what products are in demand. So you have to produce the product customers want. That's the first thing. Then how are you going to be able to produce them? You'll be able to produce them with your raw materials, yes or no? You need to convert raw materials into finished goods. So producers have to be on the lookout for where they can get quality raw materials at a cheaper rate. Because if they are able to get it at a cheaper rate, they'll be able to sell at affordable prices. There won't be market failure. So market failure could arise as a result of selling at a higher rate, higher price, which consumers cannot afford. Consumers cannot afford them, so it's a market failure. So it is in a higher price. They are selling at a higher price because they are buying raw materials at a higher rate. If they were able to get information about raw materials that are cheaper, they would have bought raw materials that are cheap. Then they will be able to sell at an affordable price for consumers. Then there won't be what? Market failure. Because they don't have details about where they could get at a cheaper rate, they are buying at an expensive rate, which makes them to sell at a higher rate. The third point. And what are the most cost-effective methods of production? You have to think about the production method. How do you want to produce them? What to produce is known. Whom to produce to is known. How to produce? What do we need to use more machines? Do we need to use people? What kind of method are we going to use that is going to be cost-effective, that we're not going to waste resources? That what method do we have to use to be efficient? Businesses must seek this information. If they are unable to seek this information, there's information gap. If firm A is unable to get all this information and firm B has knowledge about this information, firm B will be more efficient than firm A. So firm A will be losing its customers to firm B. Because firm A it won't be able to sell at an affordable price. Whereas firm B can sell because firm B has information about where to get cheap products, how to make products with the best cost-effective machine or production method. Firm B knows the demand, the needs of customers. So firm B will not be wasting resources because firm B has information with it. Is it clear? We'll go down. So information failure can occur in a number of ways. There may be lack of information or inaccurate information. There's lack of information. That means this information is not known to you. You don't even hear about it. You don't figure it out. You are not aware of this information. That is lack of information. Then when you talk about inaccurate information, that means I'm not giving you full details about the information. There's communication within us, but you lack details about the information. There are some things missing in the information you got. So it's not that you didn't get the information, but the information you got might be wrong or might not be full information. Might not be detailed. So these two things will lead to information failure. Is it clear? Yes. So when there is information failure, I told you already, we call it asymmetric information. That means consumers and suppliers do not have equal access to information about the business or about the market. Because the market contains the consumers and the producers. So if producers have more information than the consumers, then there's information gap, there's asymmetric information. If consumers have more information about the market than producers, there's asymmetric information, there's information gap, there's information failure. Is it clear? So we'll go down. Merit goods. Why do we call it merit goods? Merit goods are the goods that are more beneficial to the consumers than they themselves realize, and they have benefits for those who are not involved with their consumption directly. That is external benefits. We call it merit goods because they are goods that their consumption is beneficial to the third party. You are not consuming it, but because he consumed it, it becomes beneficial to you. For example, maybe the vaccine. He took vaccine. It means he is clear from maybe any virus. Yes or no? As a result of him taking that vaccine, you're not going to be infected because he has taken the vaccine. So that is what we call merit goods. So you are enjoying the benefit of not going to be infected because he took the vaccine. Do we get it? So let's continue. They said, this failure of the consumer to acknowledge the true value to themselves and so that means that this product will be under-consumed and hence underproduced if left to market forces. For merit goods, if there's information gap, it means you won't know the importance of these goods. As a result, you will not care about the good. Yes or no?
Yes.
When you don't have information about how beneficial it is to you, you won't care. And because you don't care, the demand for such products will be less. Businesses will not want to produce anymore. So there will be underconsumption and underproduction. So in essence, if there's information gap about a product, it will lead to underconsumption and underproduction. Businesses will not sell if businesses will not produce more if consumers are not buying. It's a waste. Consumers were not buying, not because they don't want to buy, but they lack information. There is asymmetric information in the market. That makes them not to understand the importance of buying such products. Is it clear? Yes. So, because there's lack of information, they said, hence, underproduced if left to the market forces. If these goods, if there's information gap, businesses will not want to produce them because they're not going to make profit. Yes or no? So, what is the solution? The solution is that these goods should be produced by the government because government will not think about profits. So government will take its time to educate people about the importance of the product. Businesses do not have time. They want to make profits. You get it?
Yes.
So here they give an example. They said healthcare is an example of a merit good. For instance, some people may not recognize the importance of regular medical checkups or visiting a doctor, and they are unlikely to take into account the benefit of their fitness to others. The associated external benefits may include higher output as a result of workers having less time off work, hence being productive and prevention of spread of diseases. The point is this. They make the example of healthcare. People might not understand the importance of doing checkups. Maybe they even understand, they feel it is expensive to do checkups. But if government takes charge, if government provides this service, it becomes cheaper, yes or no?
Yes.
So it has to leave the hands of the market forces, which are price mechanisms, to government who don't think about profit maximization, so that people will consume it, so that it will not be under-consumed. Because they are merit goods. These are goods that governments have to produce so that everybody can consume them, so that everybody can have chances of its consumption. Do you get what I'm saying there? Yes. Merit goods are goods that without government intervention, we cannot all consume them. Example is healthcare, education. Just imagine if there's no public school. A lot of people will not go to school. Yes or no?
Yes.
So education is important. So education will be under-consumed if government does not intervene. So underproduction of education is a market failure. Underconsumption of education will be as a result of information failure. So merit goods are goods that we need to get information about them so that we can know the importance of consuming them. Do you get it?
Yes.
So they made the example of healthcare. If workers are able to do their checkups, they'll become physically fit. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because they are physically fit, they will be able to produce, they will be able to work at their respective jobs Yes or no? They won't be taking, they won't be asking for excuses not to come to work, isn't it?
Yes.
They will be punctual, they will be active, they will be productive. What does that imply? It means that businesses will be able to increase their productivity. Businesses will be able to increase their output. Consumption will be able to increase too. But if workers are not fit, productivity will fall. Output will fall, consumption will fall. Do you see? So do you understand what we're taking here?
Yes, yes.
So merit goods are goods that without government intervention, we cannot all consume them. Is it clear?
Yes.
There are various measures that the government may adopt to overcome the problem of lack of consumption in the case of merit goods. One is by providing information on the benefits of consuming the product. If successful, there should be an increase in demand. In the absence of an increase in demand, the government may need to try another approach. I said it already. If government have time, government can take its time. Government can use its resources to ensure that individuals, people, the population understand the importance of consuming such merit goods. Businesses do not have time. They want to make profit, and that's it. But government is not like that. So that is why some goods, you don't leave it in the hands of the market forces, because it will be underproduced and underconsumed. Do you get it?
Yes.
So if government tries to use advertisement and it's not working, government must try other methods too. That is the point there. Is it clear?
Yes.
So, okay. In the absence of an increase in demand, the government may need to try other approach. Figure 14.3 shows the demand that will exist if left to market forces, DD, and demand based on the full benefits to society, DX, to persuade consumers to purchase the allocatively efficient quantity of QX. The price of the product needs to fall to P1. So let's check. Look at this product here. It is underconsumed. They said if it is underconsumed, if left in the hand of the market forces, it will be at DD because the price will be at P. For this product, for the demand for this product to increase, the price has to fall to P1. Then the quantity demanded will increase from D to DX. Do you get under consumption here?
Yes.
The graph, the first graph I'm talking about, under consumption, if left to market forces. Why is it under consumed? It is under consumed because the price is high. Consumers can, we said the law of demand. The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. Yes or no? Yes. So this product is under consumed because the price is high. What can be done to reach allocative efficiency here? For allocative efficiency to occur, it has to be at QS and DX. And for it to be at QX, DX, the price of it has to fall to P1. That is the point they are making. Do we get it?
Yes.
Clear, right? So the effect of subsidy. So for this to happen, government have to subsidize. So with subsidy, prices will fall. Yes or no? Prices will fall because cost of production would have fallen. As a result of the cost of production falling, prices will fall from P to P1. Then the allocative efficiency will happen at DX. So what they are trying to tell us is this. When there is underconsumption of a product, when there is underconsumption of a merit good, if advertisement doesn't work, government can subsidize. By subsidizing, the cost of production will fall. Firms will be able to reduce their price. As a result, consumers might buy. Please, do you get my point?
Yes, yes, yes.
We are talking about allocative efficiency, which means consumers are able to buy the things they demanded for. That is allocative efficiency. Productive efficiency means firms are able to produce at a reduced cost. Yes or no?
Yes.
So for allocative efficiency to occur, it means consumption must increase. So if there's information gap, government will try to make advertisement, because advertisement creates what's it called? It creates awareness. So we said, when there's information gap, the first thing government has to do is what? Government should create awareness, which is advertisement. Yes or no?
Yes.
But if advertisement doesn't work, government have to try something else. One of the methods government could use is subsidy. With subsidy, the cost of production for firms would fall. As a result, firms will be able to charge lower prices. Then there will be allocative efficiency. That is the point they are making. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now go to demerit goods. We said merit goods are goods that what? That if government do not intervene, we cannot all consume them. We made example of healthcare. We talked about education.
Yes.
These goods, these things, without government, we can't have them because they will be expensive. Now go to demerit goods. What are demerit goods? These are goods that are harmful to consumers. They cause harm to the consumers. Example is cigarettes. They're harmful. So they are harmful to those who consume them, and sometimes harmful to the third party. So not only you that you are consuming it, even those beside you can get injured with it. That's demerit goods. So what happens here? They said demerit goods are more harmful to consumers than they realize, and they generate external costs. For example, cigarettes are a demerit good. Some people do not fully realize the damage smoking inflicts on their health. Their smoking also imposes on their health. Their smoking also imposes cost on people around them by polluting the air, causing the number of them to develop cancer through passive smoking and generating litter. So smoking does not only affect the smoker, it also affects the secondary people, the secondary smokers that are available. Maybe by inhaling the smoke or whatever it is, it can affect you. So that means it's causing a health damage to you that you are part of that setting. That is what they are saying. Yeah. So this consumption, so there could be overconsumption of demerit goods because people lack information. Some people are naive about the damage cigarettes could cause. They don't know. As a result, they continue to consume it. So you see, there is underconsumption of merit goods, there's overconsumption of demerit goods because of information gap or asymmetric information. So what should government do? Government should advertise. Government should create awareness to let consumers know the damage, the harm that smoking could cause. If it doesn't work, government can increase taxation. Do you get it now?
Yes.
When there is overconsumption of demerit goods, government should try to advertise. If advertisement doesn't work, government should what? Increase taxes. As government will increase subsidy for merit goods. Are we getting it, please?
Yes. That's good.
Sure.
Yes. So they increase taxation if the advertisement to reduce the
consumption of demerit goods.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a question?
No.
Okay. So that's about that. Now we go to public and private goods. Are you there?
Yes.
The degree of market failure is greater in the case of public goods than merit goods and demerit goods. Whilst too few merit goods and too many demerit goods will be produced, if left to market forces, no public goods will be made. Merit goods and demerit goods can still be produced by the market forces of demand and supply because they will make profits. But for public goods, they will not produce it because they won't make anything from it. That is the point they are making. So they said, whilst too few goods, merit goods, and too many demerit goods will be produced, if left to market forces, no public goods will be made. They won't. Why? Because firms want to generate profit. And because there's going to be free rider problem, they won't be able to produce. Do you get it?
Yes.
So look at what they said here before I go down. It said, as mentioned in chapter 13, private sector firms will not have any incentive to make products they cannot charge for. The private sector would not produce a product they cannot sell. So if these public goods are provided for some people, others can consume them without paying for them. Those who do take advantage of this are called the free riders.
Yes,
we talked about it before. So not that they can't produce them, they can, but because it's a public good, some people will consume it without paying. Private sector would not want that. For everything produced has to be sold with a price.
Mm-hmm.
That is why it's a private sector. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so they said, so for public goods, they said, besides non-excludability, public goods have no key characteristics. This is non-rivalry. So we call them public goods because they don't have rivals and they are not excludable. Your consumption does not stop my consumption. Do you get it?
Yes.
Do you get what we're talking about here? They said, besides non-excludability, public goods have another characteristic. This is non-rivalry, which means that consumption of the product by one person does not reduce someone else's ability to consume it.
So there is no rival.
It's non-excludable.
Yes.
Your consumption does not stop my consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not rivals. Your consumption does not reduce the level of what I can consume. Non-excludable is not the same as non-rivalrous. Non-excludable means if I'm consuming it, it doesn't stop you from consuming it. That is non-excludable. Non-rivalrous means if I'm consuming it, it doesn't reduce the number of what you can consume. Is it clear?
Yes.
So, for example, one person walking down a light street does not reduce the benefit that other people receive from the street light. There's a street light here. I will pass through it, I will see. You pass through it, you will see.
Mm-hmm.
You passing through it, you seeing with it, does not stop me from seeing with it. It does not reduce the light I'm going to see, and does not reduce the light you are going to see. That is non-rivalrous. Is it clear?
Yes.
So these are public goods. Then they say public goods also usually have two other characteristics. They are non-rejectable. It is not possible for people to reject the service of the police, for example. It is a public good because it is not rejectable.
Mm-hmm.
It is compulsory, it is important. You won't say no to it. That is the point. The cost of supplying a public good to one more consumer is often zero. If we are supplying public goods, we are supplying to you. When we supply to him, it's still at zero cost. We're not going to charge supplying him. In as much as we did not charge you, we won't charge him. So that's the cost of supplying extra would not mean, will still be what? Zero. Is it clear?
Yes.
Now we go to private goods. They said most products, including merit and demerit goods, are private goods. These products are both rival and excludable. Why do we call them private goods? We call them private goods because they are rivalrous and they are excludable. Your consumption stops my consumption. Me consuming it might reduce the number of your own consumption. Private goods. Do you understand what they're saying there?
Yes, yes.
So these products are both rival and excludable. In this case, it is possible to stop non-payers from enjoying the product. And if one person consumes a unit of the product, someone else cannot. There's always a limit. Example, the stadium. Manchester United has maybe 50,000 capacity. For example, let's say it has 50,000 capacity. With 50,000, if 50,000 people are seated, no one else can come in, yes or no?
Yes.
So it is what? Excluded. It is rivalrous.
Yes,
You see? Because you are consuming it, no one else can consume it. Sorry, at that stage, it is excludable. At that stage, it is excludable because your consumption stops others from consuming it. Do you get it?
Yes.
For rivalrous, let's say in this company you sell bottled water. You have only 100 bottled water available. If 100 were sold, the 101 person that comes will not be able to get. Yes or no? It is Y virus. You can only sell for 100 people. So when you have 101%, that means one person will not be able to consume it. That is Y virus. So your consumption reduces others' consumption. Do we understand?
Yes,
So
sir.
private goods are what? Excludable and Y virus. Public goods are what? Non-excludable, non-Y virus. Is it clear?
Yes.
So go down. I think that is clear.
Yes, yes.
So go to abuse of monopoly. Are you there? Are you there, please?
Yes.
Abuse of monopoly power. Market failure can arise due to producers having more market power than consumers. When talking about monopoly, monopoly is a market structure where you have just one consumer producing those goods. Are you with me?
Yes.
So if there's only one producer producing that good, if there's only one producer, it means the producer is the price maker. It makes the price. It doesn't have competitors. So it has power over consumers. Yes or no?
Yes.
And that can lead to abuse of monopoly power. Let's read. If one firm dominates a market, it will not be allocatively, productively, and dynamically efficient. You see, it's not going to be allocatively, productively, dynamically efficient. Because it won't be able to produce goods that consumers want in the quantities. It might not be able to produce at a lower cost because it knows it's going to sell even at higher price. It might not be able to divert production because it's not going to be flexible. Do you see it?
Yes.
So it will lack competitive pressure to respond to consumer demand, to keep its cost low, and to improve its products. It's going to lack all these three things because it doesn't have competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it?
Yes, yes.
So if it is the only firm selling the product, that is a monopoly. Consumers will have no choice but to buy from it. Even if the price of the product is high, the product does not meet the needs of the consumers and its quality is poor, they will still buy because there's no other one to buy from. There's no other businesses to buy from. Clear?
Yes.
Abuse of market failure can also occur when there is more than one firm producing the product. If there are, for example, 5 major producers in the market, there's a risk that they may collude to reduce competition and in effect act as one seller. They might fix price. When you have few large businesses dominating the market, they can collide and send away those smaller firms. Then they act as monopoly. That's market failure, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So there are various ways through which governments try to promote competition and prevent firms from abusing their market power. This includes removing restrictions to the entry of new firms into a market and making non-competitive practices such as price fixing illegal. Government has to take control. Government has to intervene. Remember when we started talking about market failure, we said market failure has to be corrected. If the problem of market failure is through the market forces cannot solve the problem. The problem has to be solved by government. So government intervention, and that is what we're talking about. Here we said there's abuse of monopoly power. Government can fix it. How can government fix it? Government will come up with regulations, laws that will reduce uncompetitiveness. Government will encourage competitiveness. Government will let new firms to come into the industry by maybe subsidizing for them. And government will make price fixing illegal. So any business that collide to fix price might be sanctioned. Do you get the point? Yes. So government has to take charge. If not, there will be abuse of monopoly power. I think it's clear. Yes. So we go to immobility of resources. Are you there?
Yes.
To achieve allocative efficiency, it is necessary for resources to move from producing products that are decreasing in demand towards those which are experiencing an increase in demand. So allocative efficiency means we are able to produce goods or services that consumers demanded for. Yes or no?
Yes.
So how are you going to be allocative efficient? You can only be allocative efficient if you stop producing goods that are not trending to start producing goods that are trending. Do you get the point here?
Yes, yes.
This requires resources to be both occupationally and geographically mobile. So if it is occupationally mobile, it means it has the ability, it has the flexibility to switch from one product to another. Geographically mobile, it has the ability to move from one place to another. These two things must happen for allocative efficiency. Is it clear?
Yes.
So let's say, okay. The next paragraph. The main measure a government can take to promote occupational mobility of labor are to improve education and to provide training in the new skills needed. People will be occupationally mobile if they are able to get new skills. I was a banker. Some 9 years ago, I was a banker. Now I'm a teacher. I'm able to switch because I have the skills. If I don't have the skills, I won't be able to switch. Then I will be occupationally immobile. That is the point I'm making here. Do you get it or not?
Yes, sir.
So government can help with occupational mobility by improving education, training, and spending, investing on education. Geographical mobility of workers can be encouraged by making it easier for them to buy or rent housing in areas where demand for labor is high. For geographical mobility of labor, it can only also happen if government makes accommodation becomes cheap for workers. So they can move from where they are not needed to where they are needed. But if I have to move to, for example, if I have to move from here to Zuara, I'll like, oh, there's scarce of teachers in Zuara, but I have to go. First, I'll check about the accommodation. I'll check about the lifestyle there. I'll check about a lot of things. If it's not enticing, I will not go. Yes or no?
Yes.
So I am geographically immobile because the conditions there are not what I can take. Not that I'm not occupationally mobile. I am occupationally mobile. I can teach now. I could go back to be a newscaster or whatever it is because I have the skills. But I am geographically immobile because conditions there are not appropriate for me, are not conducive for my lifestyle. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that is about immobility of resources. Immobility of resources is basically on occupational mobility and geographical mobility. Occupational mobility means the ability of individuals or workers to be able to switch from one job to another. Geographical mobility of labor means the ability of individuals or workers to be able to move from one location to another. Then we have short-termism. Short-termism is about an economic system that the only thing you think about is right now. And this is strictly about countries that think about consumption, they think about consumer goods than capital goods. They are consumer goods, they are capital goods, yes or no? Yes. If countries start investing in businesses, bringing offices, companies here, that is capital investment. But if you have to buy everything from Turkey, everything from Russia, everything from China, that is consumer consumption. Mm-hmm. Do you get it? Yes. So consumer, when you continue to buy consumer products, you are not thinking about the future. So that's the problem we have here in Libya right now. Mm-hmm. It's about consumption, consumption, consumption. Businesses are not setting up here. Businesses have to set up here. Companies have to come here. They have to start making those things they are buying there here. That is when you think about long term. But short termism means you think about solving the problem of now. The problem of now is consumption. The problem of after now is capital investment. So here they say there is a risk that market forces may not result in insufficient resources being devoted to capital goods. If a country produces a high quantity of consumer products, people can enjoy a high living standard. For them to enjoy more consumer products in the future, some resources have to be diverted for making capital goods. So if your country continues to produce consumer goods, it's just the same. You have a better standard of living. But what happens in the future? So you have to divert. You have to start thinking about capital investments to be able to take care of the future. That is about short-termism. Is it clear? Any questions about that? So we'll go to the multiple choice. In which case is market failure occurring?
Market failure. Persuading the result of the increase. Say.
Was not determining what is
No,
produced.
no, no. No. Ah, see.
Price falling as a result of market failure.
Market failure.
Price rising as a result of an increase in cost of production
Because
there's inefficiency.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So the answer is D. Clear?
Yes.
Question 2. A merit good is one which
Merit good.
merit, yeah.
Is both non. It's
Merit good?
No. That's high private benefits. A.
No.
No, it's not absence. No. It has an absence. I thought. What's imposes cost? Imposes cost.
Impose means put to you. It compulsory. It makes you compulsory to buy it.
It's B.
B. Good.
Yes, B.
It's B. Question 3.
Which type of goods?
Would be overproduced if left to market forces. Overproduced.
Overproduced. Okay.
No.
If left to the market force.
Yeah.
Basic necessity. No, determined goods.
What?
Determined goods.
Demerit.
Demerit.
Demerit goods.
Demerit.
Demerit goods.
Demerit goods.
Yeah. Question 4.
Yes. What is the cause of market failure? B.
B. Consumers lacking information about where the lowest price can be found. Information failure.
Yes.
Thank you. I will stop there. This is one of the longest topics here.